Welcome to another episode of How I Discovered My Gift with yours truly, David D. Simons. I am delighted and my excited is excited to have my brother Isaiah Grant on the show. I'm going to give you the official bio and then I'm going to give you a personal bio on my brother here. So, Isaiah Grant is the CEO of Kingdom Impact, a best-selling author, and manages a seven-figure real estate empire. He's been recognized on Yahoo, Finance, ABC, Starter Story, Disrupt Magazine, and more well-known publications. He's managed marketing spend of over $1 million in paid advertisement while helping his clients produce over $10 million in sales. Yes, that's 10 with a 10 on it, 10 million. He is followed by a tribe of 36,000 coaches on social media and has an MBA in marketing. Isaiah held nothing back in his book, which you need to get, right? No fluff, no theories. It's all real and practical stuff that he's applied to his business and that hundreds of other coaches have applied to their businesses for exponential growth. If you take the knowledge that his book has and apply it to your business, you will get a similar result in your business and personal life. This will only work if you do. So you got to put in the work. And so please make sure to get my brother's book, The Faith Impact Freedom Method. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Man, I'm so excited to be here. David, you're an incredible guy, great leader, and thank you for helping me publish my book and helping me become a bestseller on Amazon. So I got to give you the credit, man. Thank you, dude. You're absolutely the best in the industry when it comes to that.
Glory
So I
to
really
God, man.
appreciate it, bro.
I appreciate you. I gotta tell folks about you, man. Like, I met Isaiah in a mastermind, and this brother just has a light on him. As anybody gets a chance to meet him or interact with him in person, and you watching, you'll see it, you'll feel it as we go through this interview. But this brother has a light, a passion for the Lord, a passion for and zeal for life. He's just so motivated. One of the most motivated people I know. He's just hungry, ambitious, but at the same time down to earth, faith driven, loves God, loves people. He's a great leader, great coach, so smart and detailed and talented. Like Isaiah is a talented man in every facet of the word. So welcome to have you on the show, bro.
Thank you,
Really
bro.
honored. And
Wow.
I can't wait to dig in, bro. So
Likewise, yeah.
bro, I want to start in the Genesis, bro. Take me to childhood, bro. What was childhood like?
100%.
Uh, and give me a short version of that, man, of what you experienced in childhood growing up.
Yeah, absolutely. So, first of all, it is a pleasure to be here. And my name is Isaiah Grant, founder and CEO of Kingdom Impact. So, when I was, about 5 years old, my dad was deported back to Trinidad. And unfortunately, since he was born there, he didn't have his, cards here. He unfortunately got into some legal trouble. They just kicked him out of the country, and he's been there my entire life. My mother, yeah, who is, incredible woman. She's dealt with, complications of diabetes, heart disease, kidney dialysis, liver cirrhosis, went blind. And all of these ailments started with diabetes, where she then went to the hospital, they did malpractice, and then after that, all of these other physical ailments occurred, impacting her life and her ability to really work and be a great mother. And so she is a great mother, so I give her all the credit for, her prayer, her support, her connections, the people that she knows are absolutely wonderful and who changed my life. And so fast forward, when I'm in fifth grade, right? Literally, I remember her looking me in the eyes, and we're in our apartment, building, and she says, "Hey, we have no more money left." And I didn't know what that meant when I was in fifth grade, fourth or fifth grade. And I just was like, "Can you go to the ATM and take money out?" She's like literally, there's no money there. And so I had this blue piggy bank with a pink, like twirl of a tail. And I would just put money in from birthdays, holidays, wherever I got cash, coins. And there was a few hundred in there. So I remember opening it up, and we had to use that for McDonald's and stuff like that. And I knew at that moment, my whole mindset around money shifted. Literally in fifth grade, I'm learning to sell pencils, erasers, candy. There was fortunately, I had, somebody in our class who had a crush on me. She was absolutely incredible. She would come with book bags of pencils and erasers. And I didn't know that it was wrong to just, be like, "Hey, thank you so much," and just go sell it and make money. And so fast forward, literally I'm selling pencils, erasers, making money to pay for lunch. legitimately. And so I go from that to selling candy to literally when I get to sixth grade, I'm selling like CDs and DVDs using like LimeWire. And I'm like, this is horrible. I probably shouldn't be saying this on a podcast. But the reality was like, I literally needed to make money, but I started to understand the value of communication and selling. And so as I'm doing that, I'm actually building friendships, and people are like, whoa, can I do this too? And so I'm learning to build a sales team, which at the time I had no clue was a sales team. I'm just like, hey, if I can do this and make more money and literally help other people, this would actually change my life and change theirs. And so fast forward, that happens. I get to eighth grade. I'm diagnosed with diabetes while doing a year-long project on diabetes and watching my mom suffer from it. She goes in the hospital. I'm in the hospital for about 30 days, not in school. And they're like, whoa, what's going on? They call her. I get out. And I tell them the story, and they're shocked. They're like, do you even want to do this project on diabetes? And so I do it and literally pass, science class. And I spend 4 years in high school literally going through this process of eating well and finding a mentor. I'm learning the power of mentorship. This individual helps me lose weight, get rid of diabetes after 4 or 5 years. And then ultimately I go to college and start, playing more and more basketball. And then I fall in love with leadership development and building, a nonprofit. And so in the 4 years of, college, going to the University of Connecticut, through the grace of Jesus, through his strength, he helps us mentor over 500 students in Hartford, Connecticut. We built a water well in Kenya, Africa, which is absolutely incredible, providing clean water to the community and helping them create agriculture so that, ultimately they can make more money, fund their education and then fund their community. And so that's a high level journey. And I'm learning how to build a team in college. You have, nine, different leaders who then build volunteers. And it's just this leadership development process that then translate directly after college into corporate. So from the age of 16 to 25, corporate America, aerospace engineering, doing senior product management work, which was incredible. I learned how to create a product. I learned how to market the product and sell it, and then got my MBA, which they paid for. So through the grace of Jesus, went to undergrad and master's for free, and I used all the certifications I accumulated to then start my own business. And then yet again, I found three mentors that changed my life. So Austin taught me this concept of systems. Ryan taught me marketing and sales. And then, ultimately, my last coach, Sam, has taught me the power of essentially balance, right? Of really growing a relationship with the Lord, being very profitable, impactful, and then most importantly, learning sales so that I can be a person who adds value and control the income and profit in my life. So I've had three powerful mentors: systems, marketing, sales, and what I consider balance in every area of my life. And so I can't say that this was, man made. I've had help throughout the process and really just owned this 10,000 hours. I just turned 30 about 2 weeks ago and officially broke the 10-year mark of putting in the 10,000 hours. And so now it's, paying off, grace of God, the real estate portfolio has grown exponentially. Commercial building in Connecticut, Airbnbs in Connecticut, Section 8 rentals in Ohio, while building this coaching business, both, tremendously to the point of, helping people just change their life, become world-class leaders like Jesus. And that's ultimately my goal. And so that's my story a little bit, a lot more detail, but that's been a blessing.
That's phenomenal, bro. No,
Thank you, man.
phenomenal, bro. Amazing. So, a question for you, Isaiah, is that as you think about your childhood and you think about where you are today, when you look back and maybe you even analyze today, what
Yeah.
is your most dominant gift?
Wow, I'm going to say leadership. So for me, I love to do a few things when it comes to leadership is help people discover their passion, their purpose. I call it the 5 P's: proficiency, ability to make profit, and then ultimately, yeah, I said passion, purpose, proficiency, yeah, It's around 4 or 5 of them. So I like to help them discover that. And the goal is if I can extract that out of them, they can fulfill their God given purpose and ultimately walk into that and have more legacy and impact for the kingdom. And so, yeah.
When did you realize this?
Yeah, so playing basketball. So I've loved basketball my entire life. So I started really hooping when I was in 6th grade. So I made my middle school team. That was cool. My high school team. And I started to see how coaches would develop me. Like they would, I've had some that were incredibly hard on me because they just felt like there were areas that I can grow in. They didn't want to acknowledge the strengths because they would think that I'd become too ego driven, which was very true, right? Especially when the character hasn't been built yet at an early age. And then also too, when I graduated and kind of threw up, the shoes on the shelves, I was like, I want to develop other people. Basketball's over. When I got to college, I was like, how can I create a new sport? And I fell in love with business. My new sport was literally the numbers of business and developing people like a coach. And so this idea of leadership to me is resembling this idea of a coach who can ultimately set a vision, set a purpose, create milestones to get to that purpose and that vision, and then most importantly, find people to go into the driver's seat and equip them to be very good at it. Because I think, 3, 4 things to consider in talent is their character. What type of character they have. Are they humble? Yes. Are they hungry? Are they teachable? Do they hold themselves accountable? Character is very important. Then number two, in my opinion, is skill set. Are they somewhat proficient and passionate about what they do? Because you can help somebody who actually is decent and help them grow and become great. And then number three is this idea of radical ownership. If you make mistakes, you walk in integrity and own that, because we don't need to spend 2 days trying to figure out what caused the mistake. Rather, you just say, it was my fault. I'm going to fix it and we're going to move forward. Those type of people excel in business. They excel in anything in life. And that's what I like to extract out of people. Their God given, identity and purpose so that they feel good enough to fulfill their destiny.
Respect. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it, man. So, as you started to see this development gift and leadership development gift, and you used it in college, like you said, you obviously brought it to the business realm. Talk to us about the impact it's made, pun intended, um,
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
the business realm, and how you, because I know you started
Yeah,
more on the fitness side and then
exactly.
transitioned into, yeah. So
Yeah,
talk to us about that and how you did
that's a
that.
great point. So our business has evolved tremendously. There's been like 3 or 4 iterations. Starting off, it was web design. That was something I was so excited about. Like, this idea of being a creative, helping people expose their brand to more people. And so we did that. I would, literally my first client was a massage therapist. And he was literally my massage therapist. I'm sitting on the table, I'm getting the massage, and I'm like, let me just make an offer. I was like, $500 to build your website. He was like, I need it. I was like, oh, wow, okay, cool. I'm literally selling him while I'm getting a massage, and he literally goes for it. And I literally one of the first people to support this business 10 years later. And so I built him a website, $500. I build confidence here. And then fast forward, my next client I do for about 1,000. My next client I do for 2,500. Next client I do for 5,000. And then I notice as I'm making this progression that websites are great, right? Especially if you do a build out fee. But where the money comes in is the monthly subscription of like the hosting and security and stuff. And I'm like, that I'm not passionate about. And so this was like a freelancing job. It was cool. It made some good money, but I knew that people and businesses needed more to actually grow. And so that was my first evolution. So I went over to number two, which was productizing my service. And so I productized that service, did web design, I did ads, jack of all trades, and it helped. But then I started to see that people were, number one, they would look for excuse, right, for anything. Oh, even though the ads are working, I'm getting leads, like I'm not closing any of them. So the leads are bad. So they always come up with a reason why your service is bad. And I'm like, no, you just don't know how to sell. And then my third evolution was moving over from done for you services to coaching. So then I productized my expertise of marketing, sales, and then operations. And then I taught people how to do it themselves, generate the lead, nurture the lead, qualify the lead, book the call, and ultimately close deals. And that was specifically for fitness, health, and life coaches. So we did very well in that, crushed it. It was about a half a mil we made in, sales. And I was like, when downtimes happen, fitness, health, and life coaches, I love them, but they have their seasons. And so the reality is like when fall hits, sometimes they'll do well, but then when December hits, they're like all out of business. And then New Year comes, they're like crushing it. And then the summertime, so I'm like, oh my gosh, inconsistent cash flow. So we'll do really well, then decrease. We'll do very well, decrease. And I was like, I'm looking for more stability. And then I had all these people around me in my ear, like, dude, what you're doing is helping them so much. We had clients go from negative 50,000 of debt, quitting 9 to 5 jobs to 100K a month in the fitness, health, and life, industry. And then I branched out and did service-based businesses. So anybody who offered a service, the fourth iteration. And this is where now we work with brick and mortars, coaches, consultants, agency owners, authors, speakers, and we help them build either a successful online business or in-person business using our leadership OSX foundation, leadership operating system. So we literally come into your business like the Navy SEALs, and we literally systemize your entire business from marketing, sales, fulfillment, finance, operations, so that you can replicate yourself with automation, AI, and people. And so that's been the journey. And we have our book where we give people thousands of dollars for free. I had somebody send me an email about 2 months ago. They were like, thank you so much. I read your book. I applied what was in the book and I closed a few $10,000 sales.
Wow.
I'm just from the book. And that was the cool part because that really felt like, whoa, 10 years later, all the work that God, did in my life, because business is really character development in disguise. You learn how to be a financial steward. You learn how to correct people, speak the truth in love, right? Helping people with their yes meaning yes and their no meaning no, right? People who commit to a contract and back out, right? You become you learn how to focus your efforts on the kingdom, meaning like not seeking money first, but seeking impact and bringing glory to Jesus. Like we've had people in our program, Muslims convert to Christians, atheists convert to Christians, and give their life to Jesus. And that's why I do what I do. It's not about building businesses, it's actually about building leaders in Christ so that they become more like him and disciple like him so that they can create leaders in their companies that build the business. So it's me creating leaders that create businesses that are successful, impactful, and profitable.
Dude,
So that's been the evolution in the journey.
that is so amazing, man. You're just so remarkable, bro. Like, and I
It's
got to
all
see
Jesus.
witness this parts of this transformation
Yeah, thank you.
firsthand, bro. So you said something earlier about the 10,000 hours, man, and I got to dig into this, right? Because somebody may say, "Oh man, Isaiah, how did you get to this success so young?" And
Mm,
like they may not understand the level of deep work, the level of
man.
mindset, the level of like investment, because we
Yeah,
met in an environment of
yeah,
investing in our minds and
yeah.
ourselves. And so, could you speak to, because a lot of people just see success and they don't realize the
They don't
behind.
count the cost.
They don't count the cost. Speak to it,
Yeah.
brother. Speak to it.
Okay, so I'm just going to tell you the cost
Yeah.
of being successful. The cost is number one, you're going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars for coaching. And if you don't, that means you have not paid tuition to the game.
Mm,
And when you don't pay tuition to the game, your ceiling is capped. Meaning that if you don't spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in coaching and you have a coaching business and you've only spent 10,000 in your coaching, guess what your cap is going to be for the people who spend money with you? $10,000. So if you want a program that's $250,000 that you're going to sell, you need to spend $250,000 because there's something called integrity. Like literally King Solomon teaches this. Knowledge is knowing his truth. Wisdom is the application of his truth. And understanding is teaching of the truth. You cannot be a service-based business owner or a leader if you don't walk in integrity of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So that's the first thing. Be willing to spend a lot of money. It's going to be constant. Make money, reinvest it. Constantly make money, reinvest it. The number two is count the amount of hours you're going to spend and the amount of sleep you won't get. Like you should be willing up front to put in 12 to 14-hour days. In my first 5 years, I literally did this. I woke up at 6 and went to bed at 1. So from 6 to 8, I'm actually doing business work and getting prepared for my day job. And then I'll do my day job to 8 to 5, and I'm doing work for my business at my day job. Then after I go to the gym and I'm eating well throughout the day, working on my nutrition. Then I work from 6 to literally 9 o'clock in the business. And then 9 to 1, I'm doing stuff for my MBA program. And so that was the stuff of studying every single day. I had no friendships, no relationships. All the friends I had in college, it would be periodically on the weekends I would see them. If I could go to the gym, I would try to habit stack. Like, dude, come out to the gym with me for like an hour. So like, yeah, like it was habit stacking. That was the only way I could spend time with people. Like it was like, bro, your first 5 years, you got to give up everything. It's this iceberg effect. The tip of the iceberg, and especially this, the delayed gratification is constant failing. And one of the first lessons you're going to learn in business and character development is failure is quitting versus failure is learning a lesson. Most people don't see the lesson behind every challenge. They see it as a roadblock that they have to stop and run from. So you're going to learn to lean into the suffering, like it says in James, right? Count it with all joy, my brothers and sisters, when you face trials of many kinds. For it produces faith, faith produces, character, and character produces hope. And so, like, literally, I'm talking about over and over and over, you're going to learn that. And it won't always be like that. Like, you won't always work 10, 12-hour days, 12, 14-hour days. It should gradually decrease 14 to 12, 12 to 10, 10 to 8. And then maybe one day you're working 4-hour days. Especially, and what I realized, the more I worked, it actually exposed another story in my life that I built this superhero complex that everything needed to be around me in the business. So then you start to learn systems that drive efficiency and repeatability without you. And most people go wrong. As soon as they build a system, they want to plug a person in it. It's not like basketball. The triangle offense is phenomenal. Phil Jackson plugged in, Jordan, Dennis Rodman, Pippen, right? Because you can't use automation in basketball, at least not, on the court, but behind the scenes in data. So you got to plug a person in. And then he won a championship there and he won it with the Lakers. But in a business, you can use automation and AI that works 24/7. Because here's the reality, people work 9 to 5 and they make mistakes. So you can have a team of people and they cost a lot. People cost a lot. So the reality of what I've learned as a second lesson is you're going to hire talent and you're going to invest a lot in talent and they're going to leave. And when they do leave, is your business prepared to deal with the suffering of that person leaving? And if not, that exposes your systems in your business. So you're essentially, what I'm saying is count the cost of, you're going to have to invest a lot of money into your learning and development. You're going to have to invest a lot of time into learning and development. So there's something called delayed gratification. You may not see harvest for about 5 to 10 years, true harvest. You may not see it. You may see spikes. Whoa, you got your first 10,000, first 50,000 a month, first 100. You may ebbs and flows, but you probably won't see a real harvest until 5 to 10 years of commitment. You look at Abraham, right? Literally, in Sarah, it said her womb was just as good as dead before he's seen a harvest. You look at Noah, right? Hundreds of years of no rain. And here's the wild part. The same people who, the only confirmation he had was people saying, you're a fool. It hasn't rained here. And the wild part, the blessing was for them. And so you're going to have people going against you. That's another thing. The third thing is the amount of hating that you may get from family and friends and the discouragement from failures and people, and
Yeah.
that means you're going in the right direction. The more you get, that's another one. And then the fourth one is this idea of just leaning into the suffering every single day of pain, of like, oh my gosh, right? It's literally a deep rooted relationship that exposes the fears in your heart. Every single one of them will come to the surface. Rejection, you're going to learn that through sales. You're going to get hundreds of no's and finally get a yes. And then you're gonna learn how to get through that. You're gonna have months that are horrible in sales, and then you're gonna think you're a failure, and you're gonna get through that. Right? You're gonna have people leave and quit, and then you're gonna get through that. And it's just a constant learning every single day to where you almost build a healthy callus in your heart, not cold one, but one that makes you almost bulletproof. And we call it kingdom impact. So those are probably the four costs associated with success that I've learned over and over and over and over. Yeah.
That was a masterclass on character development right there, man.
The Holy
Just
Spirit led that as
oh
always.
man,
Yeah.
oh man, I need to hear that again, like myself. That was powerful, bro. Like
Thank
I
you.
really want listeners to really go back and pick up everything that I he just gave you so many gems to help you realize what
Mm,
business is truly about, right? God's
mm.
ultimate goal through businesses. Yeah, you know, we close business and profit and help people, but he
Yeah.
has an ulterior motive to help us develop as people. So,
Exactly.
yo, that was great, man.
Mm,
Um, so what we've been doing, which you may not have known, is
yeah.
we've been going through the parable of the talents, right? So the parable
Ooh.
of the talents is, you know, the one that discovered their gift or the talent that God gave them, because I believe that this whole podcast is based on the parable of the talents. And in the parable of the talents, one, you know, the one that had one, the one that had two, one that had five, one, you know, we know that one hid theirs in the ground, and um, and we equate this model: discover, develop, distribute. Discover is what God has given you, the gift that you
Yeah.
have, the leadership development, and nobody said, God didn't say, Isaiah, this is your gift. You know, he doesn't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You had to go through life trials, tribulations to
100%.
discover it. Then the second piece is the development, which you were just talking about, the
Yeah.
development of character, development of mindset, development of skill sets, all of those things. And then the last D, which I think you're phenomenal at all of them, but the
Thank you.
last D I know you're phenomenal at too is distribution, right?
Mm,
Which is distributing the gift, because I know that when coaches or businesses or even fitness folks would come to you, that's probably where they struggled, right? They're great at what they do. They got an
yeah.
amazing gift. They're awesome at developing it to mastery, but for some reason they can't market themselves in a way that draws clientele or opportunity. And I think you and your team at Kingdom of Impact have greatly mastered that.
Yeah.
So if you could speak on distribution, man, distributing of one's gift.
Absolutely. I just reread this 2 days ago, and it's been a game changer. So check this out, and I'm going to talk about distribution in a second, but I
Yeah,
think this is going to be
yeah.
so important. So in the word, it talks about this. When you duplicate and you produce, that you're a good and faithful servant. So it describes the talents who reproduce life as good and faithful servant. The one who hid it symbolizes what happened in Genesis. They hid after they sinned. And so
Mm,
the Lord sees laziness as a sin, which he
mm,
says you will go to the gnashing of teeth and burn in hell.
mm,
And so it is actually a commandment to be a producer. And
mm,
check this out. Production doesn't, it comes in two forms: production fruit and spiritual fruit. We have the fruit of the spirit, right? You know, love, joy, peace, kindness, self-control, etc. And then production fruit here is, right, money's producing money, producing, offspring. But remember, money's neutral. It does what its master says. And it also says money is not, he doesn't necessarily say money is bad. He said the love of money is bad, and
mm,
that's where it comes in. And one thing to say here, the one who had one talent hid it, so keyword is hid. The one who had two worked, and the one who had five invested.
mm. Ooh.
Come on, I need you to see this real quick. So the evolution, right, that God says is you have to go from hiding, which requires repentance, and it requires faith. which means surrendering to his will, doing the work by his word, which puts you in a place to work. And now that you're working, you're trading time for money, which means you've at least discovered your gifts and you're exchanging it, time for money. And it's not a bad thing. And once you exchange it, you start to realize that trading time for money is not a way for you to live the rest of your life. Because you know why? If you trade time for money, it becomes a distraction from doing more for God's kingdom.
Mm.
So then he says the one with five invested. So then he learns to invest his talents, his passions, and his purpose, so that produces more work without him trading time for money, which gives him more opportunity to do more for the kingdom. And
Dude.
so I just wanted to share that is the seasons go from hiding to working to investing. That's what he requires out of the talents, the transformation. And so to answer your question of distribution is what we do in companies is number one, a leader will come into our company, we'll partner, we'll help them build a foundation in their company called the leadership operating system, which gets you clear on your vision, 3-year goal, 3-year vision target for your whole life, not just your business. Number two is leadership of who you need to become to achieve that vision. Your current self is not enough to get to that vision. So we go through your limiting beliefs, your passions, your purpose, your gifting, SWOT analysis of your life, strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats to help you become the next level you. Then number three, we get into your hero client, who you want to serve, your impact offers, how you're going to serve them in a very scalable way without trading time for money. So now you're going from hiding to working, but then the scalable model is investing. So you're not trading time for money. And then we create a pricing structure that's very scalable for you to go to 6 figures, then 7 figures. And then lastly, the last two things is position you as the go-to authority in your market. And then number seven here is ultimately building the systems so that again, you're not trading time for money in your company and you can plug and play automation, AI, and people. And so we build a sales system, right, throughout your entire company that allows you to become a fluent communicator. Sales is just influence and exchange. So our goal is this: get rid of this concept of sales, that I have to be a used car salesman, that I have to convince somebody to do something. I don't convince anybody to do anything.
Mm.
I help diagnose your pain. I bring awareness to your pain. And psychology says that if I, 98% of the time, I would rather run from pain than to seek pleasure. So really my goal is to help you get away from your pain and then recognize that there's some areas in your life that you have to become more like Jesus. And so the distribution here is building that foundation first. And then on top of that, we add layers and we advance. So you do lead gen to maybe a book funnel, then lead gen from a book funnel to a webinar or a masterclass that you host. And then we teach you to become a fluent communicator to where you never have to worry where your next dollar comes from.
Bro, this is
And
this
that's
is
how we teach it.
I love it. Like like I said, we're gonna have to do a part two, bro.
Yeah.
This is fire. We are gonna do a part two. Listeners, I know you're blessed by this. Part two is coming very soon.
Yeah.
We're not gonna stop the interview. We're gonna continue it.